Welcome to the CE Sponsor Update webinar. We'd like to introduce ourselves. I'm Sika Wijay, the CE Administrator.
And I'm Joanna Truitt, Manager for Continuing Education and Experience.
We anticipate our webinar today to be about 20 minutes. Before we get started, we have one housekeeping note. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please type it into the Q&A text box on the right-hand side of the screen. We will address all questions at the end of the presentation. Are you guys able to hear me? Oh, okay. Perfect. Sorry about that. Our agenda for this webinar is to share our guidance documents for learning objectives tied to our principal knowledge topics, the new updates to our Find a CE program search function, introduce our newest CE quality partner, provide an update on CFP Board Ethics, share a tip for point of contacts, as well as our CFP Board mailing list. Finally, introduce the Foundation for Financial Planning grant program. Let's get started. In past webinars, we discussed a project of the Council on Education's CE and Quality Work Group. The finished project is now available to you online. A series of guidance documents can be found under Resources for CE Sponsors through the Filling Content Gaps link. Once on the home page, you'll find links listed by principal knowledge topic. Click into any of these documents and you'll have access to the learning objectives for each topic within that category. Use these documents as resources when you have an interest in exploring new areas of content. They include updated learning objectives and level of complexity for each topic within the given category. Use these learning objectives to plan a webinar, live program, conference session, or self-study course. Enhancements to Find the CE program are now live. As we mentioned before, we intend to use the information you provide us during the program submission process to enhance the certificate experience. We have begun promoting these enhancements to CFP professionals through newsletters and at major conferences and events. Our objective is to increase traffic to this tool and thereby increase the visibility of your programs. One enhancement gives users the ability to search on subtype once the delivery format is selected. In this instance, we searched for live programs and then selected conference sessions as the subtype. I could narrow my search by adding in the sponsor name or topic. The results page returned a listing of all programs in this category. When I selected a specific program, the results I received provided more information, including the conference title and dates, location, and the URL to the conference information or registration page. In this example, we conducted a search for live programs with webinars selected as a subtype. When I click on the program name, the CFP professional will view the description and learning objectives, but also have the link to the webinar information on the sponsor's site. In our summer newsletter, we will provide you some statistics on the number of times the tool is accessed and the popular searches and the most popular searches. Using benchmark data from early 2017, we hope to see an increase in use. CFP Board is pleased to welcome College Affordability as our newest CE quality partner. They join an elite group of now 21 CE sponsors who have agreed to a comprehensive review of random selection of their active courses. If you have an interest in becoming a CE quality partner, please send an email to cesponsor@cfpboard.org. The 2018 process will begin this month. For those of you who will be participating, this is our submission and review schedule. The process begins with CE sponsors responding to the invitation by returning the Quality Partner Registration Form. Once received, this sets in motion a chain of events that includes some back-and-forth correspondence about programs and courses to be renewed for 2019. From that renewal list, we'll select at random 4 to 5 courses for which you'll provide program content or online course access. Course reviews will continue through August with feedback to sponsors as the reviews are completed. A formal announcement of our 2018 class of quality partners will be made in the September newsletter.
We are inching closer to the release of the new Ethics CE content, and we want to ensure that you're prepared to begin offering the new curriculum when it becomes available. We have scheduled a series of webinars this week, one for sponsors interested in offering CE Ethics Live, and the other for those of you who plan to offer the course online. While both sessions will be recorded, we encourage participating in the live version, which gives you an opportunity to ask us questions directly. The registration link for these webinars, again, which are scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday, both starting at 2:30 Eastern Time, can be found in the newsletter as well as online. Please let us know if you need the registration link, and we'll send it out to you directly. If you can't attend one of the webinars, but would like to get a head start on the registration process, click on the CFP Board Ethics link under Continuing Education Providers to access the updated Ethics CE web pages. Here you'll find detailed instructions for registering the ethics course as well as the Ethics CE program requirements. We've also added a resource page specifically for Ethics CE providers. For those of you planning on offering the live ethics program, please identify your instructors early. The resource page includes dates and times for 2 webinars in April that will fulfill the live program instructor training requirement. Again, we'll go into much greater detail at the webinars that we offer tomorrow and Thursday.
Need to renew a previously active program you missed during the renewal period? We get this question a lot after a renewal period. The process is simple. Just send us an email at cesponsor@cfpboard.org that includes the program title, program ID number, and initial offering date for 2018. We will generate the renewal invoice that you can access from your CE sponsor portal in the Manage Program Renewal section. Once the payment process is complete, notify us again via email and we will change the program status to active. Does your organization offer a product or service that is beneficial for CFP professionals or CFP exam candidates? If so, we want to let you know that CFP Board's mailing list is available for purchase to help you get the word out. Our lists are available in 2 formats, a full list or a segmented list by state or zip code of our 80,000 CFP professionals or current CFP exam registrants who have not opted out of third-party communications. CFP Board does not sell email addresses. For more information, please email cesponsor@cfpboard.org and we will forward you the application. Now through April 30th, the Foundation for Financial Planning, FFP, is accepting grant applications from nonprofits to help fund pro bono programs linking financial planners to underserved people in need. As you know, we've been looking for pro bono and volunteer activities that might be eligible for CE and/or experience. We wanted to bring your attention to the Foundation's annual grant giving program. If you or an organization you know might benefit, go to the Foundation's webpage. The link is in the newsletter to review the criteria and access the online application. All applications are reviewed by the FFP Grants Committee, made up of independent financial planners and industry leaders. Approved grant applicants will begin to receive funding in January 2019. We reached the end of our formal presentation. As always, we are happy to take your questions on any topic covered here or hear what's on your mind.
As you're thinking about questions, we just wanted to share with you our newsletter schedule for 2018. We went from a quarterly newsletter to once every 3 or 4 months when we have news. Particularly now that we finished our major deployments, things are slowing down in the operational area. Again, we want to make sure that we're communicating with you in a timely fashion, but also communicating those things that are of the highest interest and most important to you. So formally, our next newsletter will go out June 12th with the webinar update scheduled for June 19th. And then our fall email newsletter will be distributed on September 11th with the update webinar for the 18th. So we do have a couple of questions. The first is from Marissa. What was the email for ordering the CFP list?
You can send that email to cesponsor@cfpboard.org. I'll go ahead and send you guys the application and forward it on to Kristen Rusi, who's the marketing coordinator, and she'll be able to handle any questions from then on.
Mm-hmm. We have another question from Melissa. Where or how do you register for the next 2 webinars? I don't see it on the website. Actually, if you click on CE Ethics, CFP Board Ethics, you'll see the links right there. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that we also send those links out to you by the end of the day. Also, if you have the newsletter in your inbox, the links to both emails are in that newsletter that we sent last Tuesday. From Monica, do CFPs have the option to opt out of a mailing list? They do, actually. It's called third-party mailings. So we have a series of opt-out options for CFP professionals as well as prospects and candidates. For the most part, I think those lists are fairly small, particularly for certificates. So you should find that you're reaching a pretty broad audience.
We have a question from Jay. Will the recording of the entire presentation be available? Yes, all webinar presentations are recorded. It would be posted on the website in about a week or so.
Mm-hmm. And again, with the thank you email for attending, we'll also make sure that you have the link to the recorded session. So Jamie asks, with regards to the courses that come up in the search feature for live or webinar, do courses that sponsors identify as employee only populate in the search?
They do not. Those courses are hidden from that search and from public view. They are able to be found on when an individual self-reports, but they're not found on the Find a CE search function.
We have a really good question from Rachel. Thank you for asking it. The question from Rachel is, are you reviewing the standards for how many questions will be required per CE credit? I had heard that the current standards would be under review this spring. You heard right. Actually, The Council on Education has a recommendation that we do take a look at our requirement for assessments for self-study courses. That recommendation is now under consideration, and we do hope that by June we'll be able to make an announcement with an adjustment to that policy. Rihanna asked, the newsletter that goes out in September, who is that going to? Just us or CFP? It's going to just you. So the newsletter that I was referring to is the CE sponsor newsletter. Oh, and I just wanted to mention too, Rihanna, I saw that at the end of your question you asked about quality partners in regards to quality partner updates. When we do have quality partner updates, we have a press release template that we send to all of our new quality partners that you're free to distribute. We also do update the website, the particular web page, and we've also started getting the word out to our certificates about our quality partners, how to find them, and how to click into their programs. So again, we're hoping to drive more traffic to your programs and find a CE program.
We have a question from Destry. Do you have a comprehensive copy of the guidance documents, the learning objectives for the principal knowledge topics, where all the topics are included in one document? We don't currently have that now, but we can definitely get that created for you. It shouldn't be too hard for us.
Yeah, and Destry, in all honesty, we actually started out with one document, but it was just massive. I think it was, what, 25 or 30 pages? And we just figured that it was very unwieldy. So our decision was to go ahead and create a document per principal knowledge topic category. And that's how we have them available on the website. So again, it was just such a massive document. We wanted to make it much more manageable, and particularly with the understanding that you might not be interested in all of the categories, but only in one particular category or another.
We have a question from Dan. Are the past CE sponsor newsletters available on your website? Yes, they are. They should be under the News for CE Sponsors section. And Dan, I can follow up with a link and send you over to lead you directly to where they are.
Yeah, but the current newsletter and the past newsletters are always available.
So we have a question from Jay. If you answer this, my apologies. What is the current lead time for reviewing and approving new programs for CE credit? We want sponsors to keep in mind 3 to 5 business days when submitting programs for review. However, we are currently working on 1 to 2 business days.
Yeah, we found that program submissions kind of ebb and flow. We had a period of time a couple of weeks ago where we were probably getting 75 to 80 programs in a day. But Hasika is really good in just staying extremely focused and getting those reviews done as quickly as possible. And like I said, he really does try to keep it to 1 to 2 business days. So Rihanna asked whether or not we could elaborate about the self-study adjustment in June that we were talking about. One of the questions that we had asked the CE and quality work group to consider is changing the requirement from 10 questions per hour to 5 questions per hour for self-study. And what we've really, the discussion really involved in quality versus quantity, and the quality argument won out. And so the recommendation is to reduce the number of questions per credit hour from 10 to 5. And as a companion with that, the work group in the next couple of weeks is going to start working on a couple of documents that really address best practices in writing learning objectives, and then also best practices and some tips in writing quality assessment questions that should be tied very specifically to those learning objectives. So again, actually the June timeframe works out, I think, very well for everyone, and that we'll be able to get an announcement out fairly quickly. And in that announcement, we'll have a timetable for adoption, if you will, and it'll also segue perfectly as you're planning your 2019 programs. So again, you'll be able to make adjustments to your current programs, and as you're planning 2019, you'll have those expectations and that information already established. So when you start submitting those, you can make your adjustments accordingly.
I think that's all the questions we have. As always, we want to thank you for participating. As mentioned before, the recording of this webinar will be posted online within a week or so. We will send a thank you and a link once it's posted. The CE staff hopes spring comes early for you all, and this concludes the March CE sponsor webinar.
Thank you very much for attending.